The annual session of the Muslim League, which abruptly changed the political horizons of India, began on 22nd March 1940 at the famous Minto Park ground Lahore, which later on came to be known as Iqbal Park. The Muslims from all over India thronged the meeting places in a large number and expressed their firm support in favor of the Muslim League and the Quaid-e-Azam. Presidential address of the Quaid-e-Azam. Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah presided over this highly important and significant meeting of the Muslim League. He delivered a historic address at this moment, highlighting the separate and distinct national character of the Muslims of India. The Quaid-e-Azam, addressing the Mammoth audience at Lahore, said, "The 2.5 years of Congress rule are a strong experience for us. The years of Congress rule have given us a very vital lesson and have created fear of the Hindu domination. The Muslims are a nation by every definition of the word nation. It is absolutely wrong to consider the Muslims as a minority." The Quaid-e-Azam criticized the federal scheme for India as envisaged in the Act of 1937. In his address, he pointed out the shortcomings of this scheme and rejected it openly. He declared it has been taken for granted mistakenly that the Muslims are a minority. The Muslims are not a minority. The Muslims are a nation by any definition. What the United Government of India for 150 years has failed to achieve cannot be realized by imposition of a central federal system except by means of force. The problem in India is not an intercommunal character, but manifestly of an international one, and it must be treated as such. The Hindus and Muslims belong to two different civilizations which are based mainly on conflicting ideas and conceptions. To yoke together two such nations under a single state, one as a numerical minority and the other as a majority, must lead to growing discontent and the final destruction of any fabric that may be so built up for government of such a state. The Quaid-e-Azam in his presidential address discussed the political situation of the subcontinent at large and suggested remedies to the political problems. He was particularly critical of those elements who did not consider Muslims as a separate nation. The Quaid-e-Azam emphatically made it clear that the Muslims of the subcontinent will never accept any system which will establish Hindu domination over the Muslims. The scenario of presentation of the resolution. On 23rd March 1940, the famous resolution, which came to be known as Pakistan Resolution, was moved and passed by the participants unanimously. The resolution was moved by the Bengal Chief Minister Maulvi Fazlul Haq, known as Sher-e-Bengal, and seconded by Chaudhry Khaliquz-Zaman and others. The resolution stated that no constitutional plan would be workable in this country or acceptable to the Muslims unless it is designed on the following basic principles, namely that the geographically contiguous units are demarcated into regions which should be so constituted with such territorial readjustment as may be necessary, that the areas in which the Muslims are in a majority, as in the northwestern and eastern zones of India, should be grouped to constitute independent states in which the constituent units shall be autonomous and sovereign. Adequate, effective and mandatory safeguards should be specifically provided in the Constitution for minorities for the protection of their religious, cultural, economic, political administrative and other rights. The resolution was unanimously accepted by the participants who had assembled at the meeting place in a large number. The resolution was seconded by a number of prominent Muslim leaders from all over the country. Those who seconded the resolution were Maulana Zafar Ali Khan, Dr. Muhammad Alam, Begum Maulana Muhammad Ali Johar, Abdul Hamid Budiani, Chaudhry Khaliquzzaman, Sayyid Zakar Ali, Sir Abdullah Haroon, Sardar Aurangzeb, Qazi Muhammad Isa, Nawab Muhammad Ismail. Although the resolution did not contain the word Pakistan, but the word Pakistan resolution had gained wide popularity due to Chaudhry Rahmat Ali's endeavors. Moreover, the Hindu press also circulated it widely in an ironic manner, and the Muslims readily accepted the word for their state. The Muslim League, too, after some time declared the resolution as Pakistan Resolution. Importance of Pakistan Resolution is a landmark in history of Pakistan, India, as it eventually decided the future of the subcontinent. The attitude of the Hindus and Congress had intensified Muslims' apprehensions of feared Hindu subjugation. They were convinced that their future as a nation was not secure in the United India, and therefore decided to demand a separate homeland. The Muslims responded to the resolution with amazement and hope for a better future. They gathered under the dynamic leadership of Quaid Azam, who gave new meaning and shape to their quest for independence. With the passage of Pakistan Resolution, the Muslims began to acquire new hope and confidence in their destiny. The resolution infused high spirits among the Muslims who were now determined to fight to the last end for the accomplishment of Pakistan's. The Muslims were convinced that there was no other solution of the Indian problem except the creation of two separate and sovereign states of Hindustan and Pakistan. They demanded Pakistan because they were not accepted by Hindus to live with them in peace in spite of their efforts and wishes. The Muslims were tormented by the fear that being Muslims they would not be acceptable to Hindu majority in the United India. Pakistan therefore not demanded on the basis of hatred for the Hindus but for the safeguard of the Muslim civilization and culture. The acceptance of Pakistan resolution strengthened the two-nation theory, which was the basis of Muslim struggle for independence. The demand for Pakistan was based on Muslim nationalism, which meant the Muslim culture, religion, and national freedom. The two-nation theory was the manifestation of the principle and philosophy of Muslim nationalism, on which the whole Pakistan movement was based. The words and contents for the partition of the subcontinent was on the theory that there were two major and distinct nations in the subcontinent. The passage of the Pakistan Resolution gave impetus to the freedom movement. The Pakistan Resolution was a demand for the protection and safeguard of the national identity of the Muslims. The Congress reaction to the Pakistan Resolution. The Hindu reaction to the Pakistan Resolution was hostile. The Hindu leaders demanded it and referred to the partition as vice-section of Mother India. The Hindu leaders tried to arouse Hindu religious feelings to build up agitation against the partition. Gandhi called it a moral wrong and a sign to which he would never be a party. The Hindu press came out with the most aggressive propaganda against the resolution and declared it as a conspiracy against the unity of country. A number of Muslim nationalist ulama also criticized the resolution and tried to prove it as absurd and baseless philosophy. Raja Gopal Acharya expressed his feeling on the partition proposed and said Jinnah's demand of partition is just like a quarrel between the two brothers on one cow, or want to slaughter it into two pieces to divide amongst them. Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad gave his comments on the demand of Pakistan. I just cannot swallow the word Pakistan. It appears from it as if some parts of the world are sacred while some are polluted and impure. It is highly unethical and un-Islamic to divide the areas on the basis of being pure and impure. The division is absolutely un-Islamic and rather a sheer deviation from Islam. Islam does not recognize any such division. The Quaid-e-Azam emphatically rejected these objections against the Pakistan Resolution and the partition of India. He said, "We maintain and hold that the Muslims and Hindus are two distinct nations by any definition and test of a nation. We are a nation of 100 million. What is more, we are a nation with our own distinct culture and civilization, and therefore have every right to have our separate homeland. So every sect of the country, religious and political, social and cultural, criticize on the Pakistan resolution and especially on Quaid-e-Azam. Quaid-e-Azam bear all kind of criticism, and he was determined to get the country for his people.